Maybe a basketball. Probably a basketball or a goal or something. That's about the only thing we had.
And then Christmas hit, and then boom, there it was.
There it was.
Blocking sled.
Worked on my handles.
Blocking sled.
Yeah, nah, we ain't get no blocking sled. That probably would have been more conducive, but nah.
I've seen you drain a three in here.
Yeah, that's where it came from, man. That childhood memory right there we're talking about.
Did you play up through high school basketball?
Yeah, I did.
What position?
Nowadays they call it the stretch four. 4 or 5, whatever they wanted me to do.
Trent, it's like you're obviously not scrapping and clawing to get in the playoffs these last 3 games. Can it be hard? I mean, just what goes into the violence of a football game, putting your hand in places where maybe it's dangerous to put your hand in, and when you don't have the stakes that are associated with being in the playoffs, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it does when you're in our position, because just depending on what happens with the 2 in front of us, number 1 seed still isn't out of the picture. Number 2 seed is really well within reach. I mean, we had it until something happened this weekend. I ain't gonna speak on it, but but yeah, that's the goal. To get into the playoffs, it's just like that's the broad goal, right? Everybody want to get there, but then once you get there, the job isn't finished. Now you want to get as many home games as possible, first round bye as possible, and I think all of that is well within reach. So, yeah, we do have something to play for.
Trent, I'm sure at this point the Pro Bowl is all bad for you, but number 10's a big number. For normally 8 or 9 guys, and offensive linemen have ever done that. What does number 10 mean for you?
I mean, it means everything, man. I think back, when I first went through my first training camp, I'm thinking like, man, I maybe can do 10 years in this thing. I'm gonna have to find something else. I don't know if my body gonna hold up. And then, fast forward 13 years, and now having 10 years worth of Pro Bowls under my belt. I think it's an honor. I'm truly blessed. I never take it for granted. It's one of those things that no matter how many you get, it never gets old. Having your name announced with the game's best players is always something that you can hang your hat on.
Did those kind of things mean more to you after what you went through the previous few years?
Yeah, in 2020, it meant a lot, because I felt like I was on the brink of not being able to play, obviously dealing with what I went through. Not only not being able to play, but, have major health concerns. So to get through all of that, to take a 1.5 years away from the game, and still to be able to come back and perform at a high level, and get into my Pro Bowl and start the streak again. I think that was the one that kind of to me meant the most at that time, just because of what I've been through previously in the previous 12 months. So, but they all mean a lot. But if you ask me which one mean the most, it's probably that one.
Kyle was saying that he has mixed emotions, and he doesn't really like to make an announcement in front of the team because he sees the guys that are deservedly happy, and then the other guys that got left behind, and like he cited Dre especially.
Yeah,
is that the guy that kind of jumps out at you? Like Christian too, obviously.
Yeah, who you said Dre?
Yeah, Dre.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, I think it sucks for both of them, because when you think about somebody was asked you who's the most effective, productive halfback in the NFL, I think 9 out of 10 people would say Christian right now. And I understand Dre. I know he's kind of, to people not in the Bay, he's kind of new when you talk about name basis. His production has been there for the last couple of years, but you know how it is it's a lag time. You usually make it 1 year after you deserve to make it, and you make it 1 year after you don't deserve to make it. So it's kind of one of those deals. I think he's woke the league up now, and his name is starting to ring bells. So I think once it happens for him, he's going to roll off. He's going to rattle off a bunch of them like, you know, his counterparts. So Christian, it sucks for him because, you know, so to come into a new environment, you know, halfway through the year, and then to come in and be productive from the moment you step in the locker room, it doesn't happen very often. And you rarely ever see people get traded mid-season and come in and make the impact that he's made. So for him not to be in and then to see some of the names above him, I think that just kind of added salt to the wound, you know. So yeah, it sucks, man. And I understand what Kyle's saying, because, you know, a lot of people are very, very happy about it, and then you got some people who you are just as mad as they are that they didn't get in. So, you know, it sucks.
A little bit on that line, you have a lot of stars in this locker room, and it feels like not a lot of the ego. Is that something that's discussed, or is that something that's just a nature of the people?
Can you say that again?
You have a lot of stars in this locker room, but not a lot of ego. Is that something that's discussed among you guys, or just the nature of the people who are?
No, I think it's the nature of the people. I think it's the nature of the people that the front office look to bring in. It's not, you know, of course everybody wants a star on the field, but the locker room chemistry is just as important. You know, I've seen plenty of stars on the field that were not good teammates, and it had a negative effect on the team. So I think that's more so of a criteria that they require coming here, as opposed to us just being lucky and having a collective group of humble guys. So thinking more, all the credit goes to the front office, and the atmosphere that we have here is hard to carry a, you know, big pride, or because you can get chopped down in the meeting just like anybody else. So, you know, when you sitting there getting coached up in front of all your peers, it's kind of hard to make you feel like you're better than, you know, and that's why coaches had success keeping everybody intact, because, you know, it is no overlooking mistakes just because you're a good player. You know, it's gonna.
Prepare for Chase Young when he hasn't played this whole season.
Oh, just watch from last year. You know, I mean, that's really much it. Ain't no film on him any otherwise. But yeah, I think, you know, we battled previously. So you go back and watch some of that stuff, watch what he did last year prior to the injury. You know, but just happy that he's back just as a player, you know, in a fraternity in the league, you know, just seeing him come back from an injury that gives, you know, a lot of people hard times and long recoveries and long rehab. So see him back is a positive thing for sure.
Is it meaningful to play Washington?
Huh?
Is it meaningful to you to play Washington?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we want the number 2 seed.
Well, just your past history with Washington.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to go forward when you're looking back, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you drove home looking in the rearview the whole time, you probably wrecked. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to adding another ring, you know, continue to stack accolades. I just made my 10th Pro Bowl, looking hopefully back-to-back all-pro seasons. You know, that's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on turmoil or trials and tribulations that I've overcome or anything like that. I don't hold any grudge. This is business. You know, if they were family or something, it may look at it different. This is business, you know. So, no, I'm not looking forward to anything but to, you know, improving our chances to move up in the seeding and just getting ready to start the playoffs.
Do you think that's a perspective that you would have had earlier in your career, or is that something that as a veteran you can appreciate and, you know, not look back like that?
Yeah, I think it comes with maturity. Definitely me handling at 34 as opposed to 24 may have been a little different, but, you know, I think I've always been able to understand pretty quickly that this is a business and that nobody owes you anything, and eventually everybody will meet their demise in this game, whether it becomes via getting cut or via, you know, slowing down and having to retire. You know, very few people walk out, you know, on their own terms. So I learned that early.
Last one. Jordan Mason, did his collisions sound any different? I mean, it seems like he's a very hard runner.
Yeah, no, him and Elijah, man, they got some of the loudest collisions I've heard on the field. You know, seeing those guys hit those holes, and just it's so encouraging when you see him jog off the sideline in the fourth quarter, and you're like, well, I know, you know, after 3.5 quarters of football, that other team is probably tired of tackling the running back, so he is going to be the perfect change of pace, you know, because he's not running from you, he's looking to run right through your face. As opposed to where trying to catch Christian is an all-day job. You got JP coming off the bench, he's running right to you. And then you see people start taking creative angles, and you see them start to, you know, turn it down a little bit.